Instructor Velthar's three eyes blinked in rapid succession as she surveyed her xenobiology classroom aboard the Galactic Academy station. Her scaled appendages hovered over the holographic display, ready to continue the lecture on human behavioral patterns, when she noticed the unusual scene at the back of the auditorium. Aziz, the human exchange student, sat perfectly still. Draped across his open notebook were two Cravashi cubs, apex predators from the Theta Quintus system, their metallic fur glinting under the classroom lights. The creatures, each the size of a Terran housecat but possessing retractable claws capable of shearing through durasteel, were curled up in peaceful slumber. Their synchronized breathing created tiny ripples across the pages of Aziz's handwritten notes. The entire class had gone silent. Akeem, a Valorian student with luminescent skin that currently pulsed with anxiety, raised one of her 6 fingers. "Instructor," she whispered, her voice translator barely audible. "Should we evacuate?" Velthar's skin shifted from its usual emerald to a concerned amber. Cravashi cubs were notoriously aggressive, their survival instincts honed through millions of years of evolution on a death world that made most predator planets look like nursery gardens. The Academy had only recently begun accepting Cravashi students as part of the Galactic Council's diversity initiative, and already there had been 3 incidents requiring medical intervention. "Aziz," Velthar addressed the human carefully. "Can you move?" The young man looked up, his dark eyes confused. "Move? Why would I move, instructor?" "They're sleeping." A collective intake of breath rippled through the classroom. Srith, a crystalline being from the Andromeda sector, actually cracked slightly from stress. "Those are Cravashi cubs," Velthar explained slowly, as if speaking to a juvenile. "Class Omega predators. Their fight response can trigger from the slightest disturbance. One time, a student accidentally dropped a stylus near a resting Cravashi and what?" Aziz asked, carefully adjusting his posture so his arm could better support the sleeping cubs. One of them, the smaller one with the silver stripes, nuzzled closer to his sleeve, emitting a sound that the translator interpreted as contentment. Velthar couldn't finish her sentence. She had been about to describe the 3-hour lockdown and the station-wide alert, but the human's casual acceptance of the situation broke every protocol she knew. Akeem leaned forward in her seat, her anxiety giving way to scientific curiosity. "How did they even get there?" she asked. Aziz shrugged, the movement so slight it didn't disturb the cubs. "They wandered over about 20 minutes ago. I think they liked the warmth of my laptop, so when I switched to taking notes by hand, they just stayed. Seemed rude to wake them up." "Rude?" The word came from Takesh, a Berillian whose entire species had evolved as prey animals. His ears were flat against his head, every instinct screaming at him to flee. "Aziz, those creatures have killed fully grown warriors." "They're babies," Aziz countered, his voice gentle. "Look at them. They're exhausted. I asked their guardian earlier. They've been studying for their adaptive behavior exams all week. Haven't had proper sleep in days." Velthar accessed her neural database, cross-referencing everything she knew about humans. They were classified as persistence predators from a moderate death world. Bipedal, omnivorous, unusual endurance capacity, tendency toward pack bonding with... Oh no. The realization hit her with the force of a gravity wave. Humans didn't just pack bond with their own species. They pack bonded with everything. The Academy archives were full of reports. Humans who had domesticated Centaurian wolf beasts, humans who had befriended sentient swarm colonies, humans who had, impossibly, formed emotional connections with artificial intelligences. "The lecture," Akeem prompted, her curiosity fully engaged now. "Instructor, weren't you about to discuss human protective instincts?" Velthar looked at the sleeping cubs, then at Aziz's determined expression, then back at her prepared lesson. The irony was almost painful. "Yes," she said slowly. "Humans possess an unusual neurological response to what they perceive as cute or vulnerable creatures. Their oxytocin and dopamine levels increase dramatically, triggering caregiving behaviors that override normal threat assessment." "So he's biologically compromised?" Srith asked. "No," Velthar corrected. "He's being human." As if on cue, the larger Cravashi cub stirred, its triple-lidded eyes opening to reveal golden irises with vertical slits. For a moment, the entire classroom froze. This was it, the moment when instinct would override circumstance. when the cub would remember it was a predator and react. Instead, the cub yawned, exposing rows of diamond-sharp teeth, then licked Aziz's hand before settling back down to sleep. Takesh made a sound that the translator couldn't interpret. "Instructor?" Aziz said quietly. "If it's okay, could we maybe continue the lesson? I really do need these notes, and I think we're all comfortable here." Velthar looked around the classroom. Half the students were still paralyzed with fear, but the other half, particularly Akeem, were watching with rapt attention. This wasn't just a classroom anymore. This was a living demonstration of why humanity had been so eagerly recruited to the Galactic Council. Not because they were the strongest, not because they were the smartest, but because they looked at the galaxy's most fearsome predators and saw babies who needed a nap. "Class," Velthar announced, her skin shifting to an amused purple. "Change of lesson plan. Today we're going to discuss why humanity is classified as a Class 7 paradox species." She gestured toward Aziz and his sleeping companions. Exhibit A, a human who stopped a lecture because he didn't want to disturb predators that could kill him. Akeem began taking notes frantically, her bioluminescence pulsing with excitement. The Kravashi cub slept on, dreaming whatever dreams apex predators dream, safe in the warmth of human kindness.